Dad played tackle, and Louis Collins was the end. He played end for the old Bandy Brits. Quarterback was named Smith. He got killed at Celeron.
Oh, is that right? We're going to talk baseball, Bob, and
fine.
You were involved in various parts, but how did you get involved with professional baseball in particular? Did you get involved? Did you have recollections on Celeron when they first had their league up? Team up
No, I became more involved at when they came to Jamestown there, and became the Jamestown Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
When they came to Jamestown and dropped the pirate name or whatever they were there at whatever they were there. I don't know what they were before that.
And there were Pirates?
Niagara Falls Pirates, I think, or something. The name of I think they switched the franchise to London, London, Ontario, and they were the Pirates, and the Jamestown team. They had a contest here and who and what to name the Jamestown team. And they finally end up with Falcons. So they're going to be the Jamestown Falcons. They're going to play at Allen Park. And I think Batavia, Cornell, Hamilton Red Wings, Cornell, and the Batavia Clippers. Oh, the Bouville Buzzards, they used to call them the Bradford Blue Wings.
Is that right?
Yeah, they call them the Bouville Buzzards. And Olean with Jake Pittler.
Jake
Pittler.
Tell me about Jake Pittler. People have talked about
He
Jake
was
Pittler.
funny.
Yeah.
He was a comedian, actually. He was a showman. That's what he was. He was a showman. Great. He was great down there at the ball games. Creedon was the manager of the Bradford Blue Wings, and heavy hitter. He was a catcher. He was also the manager. Like Malevy was down at the stadium the first year.
Mm-hmm.
He played first game, was managing, and Creedon was catching and doing that for the Bradford Blue Wings. Jake Pittler.
So the
He
team
was great.
So the team really came into Allen Park then.
Allen Park.
1940.
1940.
And did you have any particular involvement there other than as a fan?
Yeah, I worked with the rest of the young guys. You know, we went over there and got jobs doing this and that. You know.
Really?
And then I operated the scoreboard the first year with Scrubby Olson.
No kidding. How did that work?
Well, you had to go up there. You had the boxes like on
Where was the scoreboard?
in center field. Allen Park was way over to the right. As you came in through the gate there, the first gate on the corner, there was just sitting over there in the field. It was just up on a stand. It was just a square, like a blackboard, you know.
Was there?
Just hung little numbers on it. So, you know,
So it was pretty small.
Yeah, down the stadium, of course, was the center field out there.
Yeah.
And Sherwood Olson and I ran it there for 1941 and 42.
Well, tell me about the 1940 team.
1940. Well,
Want that picture?
yeah.
Okay.
All those players, like I say, Sal Magley didn't come in till later in the season. Then he came in as a pitcher there. Yeah, that's the original bunch there. Harry Biscayr was the manager, or the business manager, and Joe O'Rourke was the regular field manager.
Tell me about some of the players that were on the team.
Yeah, well, Frankie Heller, he was quite a character. They played first base, and everyone, especially Walter Balash, you always call him Hitler's Wonder Heller, and that was what we stuck him with that name. Offerhammer was a phys ed, actually, teacher. He came here, but he went back to Buffalo, I guess, and went back into the teaching business after he was through here catching. Nick Lamone, not very friendly, very serious about his job. Bobby Blanchard, he was a good guy, just full of laughs and everything. Joe O'Rourke, very serious. Hank Noack had played with the Buffalo Bisons, and he was on his way down. He played center field for the old, AA Bisons up there, AAA Bisons. He's on his way down. He was playing center field for the Falcons. Bill Harnick, big fella, kind of easy to get along with, nice guy. Played right field, got killed in a taxi cab accident in Niagara Falls. Johnny Newman, of course, he was there forever. He played left field. He was always quite a jovial character. Dwayne Schaefer, he's okay, nice guy. Dick Schmidt was a real good guy. Frank Schmirker, good guy. That's the pitching staff. Schaefer, Schmidt, Schmirker. Walter Balash, real good guy. Charlie Munger I didn't know very well. And Meade Coyle, they kicked him off the team there, Joe Ruck did, before the season even started. They hadn't played their first game.
Okay.
And they brought in a kid by the name of Al Bradley,
Mm-hmm.
and they put him at shortstop. So he played the season at shortstop, and then they came in with Sal Magley in the middle of the season, and then right toward the end of the season, they got a kid, left-hander by the name of Stan Rogella, and he stayed with them over till the stadium team in '41.
How many recollections of Sal Magley when he came in? Was there any sense that he was anything different than just one of the
No.
young players?
No, nothing. Nothing showed me that he was much better than anybody else. I couldn't see he was so great, you know. He didn't seem to be no better than Balash or maybe Frank Schmirker.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was that great, but apparently he had something. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
he had something that pushed him up to the Giants. I don't know what it was.
Johnny Newman, when he came on in 1940, again, was there any sense that this guy was something extraordinary?
No. Just a big, jovial fellow, heavy, like Babe Ruth, you know, just didn't look like a ball player, truthfully. I mean, you can see by the picture, he didn't look like a ball player, you know, maybe like Boog Powell or something like that, you know, big muscles and everything, but you wouldn't think of him being in the field, you know.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think of him being in the field.
Was he much of a fielder?
Well, he took care of his end out as best he could, you know.
Yeah.
He was no George Lurchin
Exactly.
or anything like that. They played center field later there, or Wilbur Harden, you know, that just played center field for the Falcons there later either. He wasn't no world beater like Earl Rapp.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were more the better fielders. I thought.
Yeah.
I thought Rapp and Lurchin and Wilbur Harden and all the guys were better fielders, much better. But of course, they couldn't hit the ball as far either.
Yeah.
Because Newman's the only guy I remember that hit a ball over the top of the light standard in the left field out there, the second light standard
Yeah.
in. It went over the top of that.
My word.
And was still going out. That's the only one I ever
Yeah.
remember that did that.
That's great.
And the only one that I remember hitting a ball on a dead line, and the ball never went up or down from home plate to the scoreboard and hit the scoreboard on a dead line, was Creedon.
Is that right?
The catcher for the... I didn't believe that hit. He hit it, and it went up about 6 to 8 feet. It was probably 8 feet off the ground and never wavered. It was a line drive. I never seen one like that. It was like on a rope, you know, right all the way out and hit the scoreboard and ricocheted off that. And, George Lurchin played it off the scoreboard and fired it back in again. You know, that was something else.
Now, Allen Park, I live there in Allendale, and I'm trying to recall where the bleat. Is it kind of where the ball field is today? You know, have you been
Well,
up
I
there?
don't know. I haven't been up
Okay.
there. It used to be over in the other corner, over
Yeah.
in the, would be on the west, or on the, it would be on the eastern side. The home plate and everything was over there, and there was a fence there, and then behind the fence was the bleachers.
Okay.
Around behind there, and then the bleachers went down two sides of the field there.
Okay.
Be on the east side and coming out on the north side.
Did they have
Okay.
tarp so that you couldn't stand outside the fence and watch?
No, it was nothing covered there. You could stand out there if you wanted to.
So right field there would actually be a fence, where the fence is today probably. There is a fence, a wire fence, but there'd be left field, that would be just open, I mean, just seemingly go forever.
Left field had a fence that went left field went all the way down the fence.
Yeah.
But that went out to the other field over there,
Yeah.
where they call it
Yeah.
the soccer field, or
Yeah,
whatever they
exactly.
called it over there, towards the skating rink.
Yeah.
There was a fence across there, a wire fence too.
Or was there?
There was a fence there, so if they tell where a home run went, you know, it went over that fence, it was a home run. And it went down to the other fence, and it came up to the gate. And, of course, the scoreboard was over the west side,
Mhm.
on the, just above the fence there. So it was up higher so people could see it, you know,
Yeah.
above the fence. And it went over, and then there was a fence, of course, came down by the parking lot out there, where you park the cars and everything there.
They have good crowds?
Oh, yeah, they had good crowds. Yeah, people went over there, they had good crowds. bigger at the stadium, of course, when they got pitchers like Charlie Shutt down there and Pete Angel and all them were throwing. Well, then we started to get some good teams, you know, they were winning teams. Well, then they were contenders for the crown, you know. And all
Do you remember much about that 1940 season itself, as far as the pennant race? As far as any incident that jumped out at you?
No, I don't remember that much, but I seen every game.
Yeah.
I didn't miss a game. I knew everybody, and I didn't miss a game. I didn't miss a game in 41 or 42, for that matter. And I seen them all.
I got to ask one question. I've never seen a program of 1940. Did they have anything, do you recall? Paper or anything?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember them having programs, going around selling programs. This is when they went around selling programs, you know that. And they had ushers and everything to see. There was no need for ushers over there. You just went over in the bleachers and took a seat, you know. If you were early, you got behind the screen. If you're not, you were stuck out in the bleachers. You know, I mean, you can't reserve a seat. It was like they did down at the stadium. Of course, they had kids hired as ushers, and they would take you down in underneath the covered part and all this and that.
Do you remember the name? Does the name Dick Wrestler mean anything to you?
Wrestler.
He played in the New York Penn League in 1940, and I'm not sure if he played in Jamestown or played with the Niagara Falls team before it came to Jamestown.
1940. He must have been before, because there was no guy named a wrestler played with the Jamestown Falcons. Nobody I never heard of. Not in 40. No, that was the team there, and I didn't remember anybody else.
And they came down. Bisgard came down. My story is correct. He came down here in 1940 from Niagara Falls. Ostensibly with the idea that we were going to build a new stadium.
Yes.
And the stadium was built where it currently is. And do you know much about how they got the land or anything about the background?
I can't remember how that was part of the, what do you call it, farm down there. That was part of that, from the old Curtis farm, and I don't know how they acquired the land. But I know they went around through the schools, and the kids donated money and pennies and nickels and dimes to get that thing down there.
I'm sorry?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the kids were donating, and to get all the money together to get the stadium built, and they got enough money to build it, which they did, and they put it up.
You're showing me a program of the opening night, and you were there.
Oh, yeah, I was on the scoreboard.
How did you get that job?
I went to see Mr. Viscar, and I went both Sherwood, I did, Sherwood and Olson, and we wanted to know if we could run the scoreboard for him, and he said, okay, go ahead if you want to, try it.
How did that work? You're sitting out there, I mean, that's a long ways away. They had that
Binoculars.
Oh, is that right?
There were holes up there, and we had binoculars laying on the edge, and one of us would watch the umpire. And we'd go in and talk to the umpire. So when you call, make sure that your arm, you give it a signal so we can see it. Be sure you make it. If you're going to say strike, move your arm out, or lean or strike so we can see you from behind the batter and the catcher, And he said, okay. So we talked to every one of them. So be sure, because I said, we're watching you from out there. And sometimes you get these guys that don't just stand there and say strike, mark and take their little counter and turn it up. It's a little confusing, so I said, you can do that. So we did that, and it worked out well. We could check it.
How did the scoreboard actually work in the back? What did you have?
It was just pipes. It was steel pipes, and they had a square box on it with 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd strike one, you just turn the one up. See, out, you go and turn over the outs to 1 or 2 or whatever it was.
And that was on the balls and strikes and the outs.
Balls and strikes, and then you had big metal pieces that dropped into slots on the scoreboard. Metal, they were just square pieces of metal painted with the numbers, and they had a little tab on top, and they just pick them up and drop them in the slots when they had the innings. The top to the bottom of whatever inning it was, the top end of the inning and the bottom of the inning. And then at night we had big signs that we would take them out, and they would square up the top, and you put them in, you had 2 things you turn to hold them, and then say, next game, Hornell, and so forth, And they were all stacked in this little shed there. Hornell, Batavia, whatever. And that's where that looked.
And you did that for 41 and 42.
Yeah, 41, 42.
Yeah. And any bizarre incidents occurs while you were out there in the scoreboard? Did you ever talk to the ball players?
Oh, sure. You know, Harden would say, "Can you see the ball?" You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes the lights would hit him, and he'd say, "Where is it? Where is it?" I said, "You back up, back up." I said, "You got to come, you back up." And he'd back up. He said, "I see it." Grab it. Because some of those deep drives to center field, they get up in the lights, and he says, "Can you see it?" And I said, "Yeah, keep backing up." Oh, yeah. I used to laugh. He was quite a guy, Wilbur Harden.
Yeah.
George Lurchin was, too, you know.
Well, tell me about the 1941 team. This is a news clipping here.
Yeah.
And or you want the program?
Oh, Johnny O'Neill, he was the, you know, there's Balash, and Schmidt. They're all there. There's Schaefer over here, Wayne Schaefer. And of course, Johnny Pollock, he was new. Of course, this guy was still there. There's this guy. Of course, the manager was gone. Frank Carswell, I remember him. Pete Angel, he was one of the no pitchers. I told you, Pete Angel. Earl Rapp, he was right fielder after Williams slid into second base and broke his leg.
Oh my God.
Williams was actually the right fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, filling in with Williams, and he third base. He went around. Yeah, he was trying to stretch a double into a triple. He slid into third base and broke his leg.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they replaced him with Earl Rapp. I see Rapp here, because Earl wasn't there to start the season. And that's Wilbur Harden here. Wilbur Harden, that's the Italian playing center fielder. Johnny O'Neill was at short. Frankie Heller at first base, as you was. Greg Malevy was playing second. Will Gallo was pitching. Al Haskell. Wayne Schaefer, you know. Johnny Pollock catcher. Bob Swanson. I remember Bob Swanson. What did he do?
He was a
Oh, I see Jack Gallagher here just the other day. He was the bat boy.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, I seen him down by the Urban Town News the other day. I was talking to him. Jack, do you remember when you were bat boy? I said, oh, he said, who could forget it? You know, I see Jack quite often.
Yeah, it's funny. We've interviewed Jack and
Since he came back to town, you know.
Yeah.
Down Florida. Newman. Yeah, he was the president of Red Stand. Harry Biscay.
What about Harry Biscay? What kind of guy was he?
He's a good guy. He's a nice guy. I got along with him real good. And I trying to think of the people that ran the...
Ben Kerner.
Yeah, Ben Kerner. And he ran all the thing. And then he went down and became one of the wheels in that basketball thing down there.
St. Louis Hawks.
St. Louis Hawks. Yeah, he was running on the whole of that. I knew him pretty good, too, Ben Kerner. He ran all that stuff. I think he ran a couple of places in the league. Different stadiums. Yeah, he ran concessions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there any particular game that you recall in 41 or 42 that was kind of a dramatic game, or one that you kind of...
Well, one there when Charlie Shuck was pitching, you know, and they had the crowds there. The crowds were so big that they had to put ropes out into right field because the stands and the bleachers were full, and there was a overflow crowd. So they had to go all the way down the foul lines to the fence practically with ropes for more people to stand out there and watch the game. That's how big it was then. So it filled it all the way from left field to right field, all the way to the fence. The people, because there wasn't enough stands to go around. I mean, there wasn't enough places for people to sit. That was when they were just going for the pennant. You always have a pennant race there. And of course, everybody come down to see Charlie Shuck pitch, because Charlie Shuck was the all-time big pitcher, you know, unbeaten and all this and that. Everybody come to see Charlie Shuck. Yeah.
Now, 41, did they win the pennant that year?
I can't remember.
Who was your favorite player? You sat out there and scoreboard for 3 years and saw a lot of players come and go, but who was the guy that you could identify with as a kid?
I always liked Dick Schmidt and Frank Schmirker. You know, they were local guys. You know, they stayed. And, you got to identify with Dick Schmidt and Frank Schmirker and Stan Rogel out there. You know, or what do you call him? Dwayne Schaefer. They all stayed around. You know, you get to identify with people that stayed in town after everybody left. They stayed. You know, worked around here. I would say probably Dick Schmidt and Frank Schmirker.
Big guys, weren't they?
Pitching, oh yeah, they were big fellas. Pitching, all the pitching staff, more or less. Believe he didn't talk too much. Well, Heller was a good guy too. Hillis Wonder Heller there. He was like that. But he moved on up to Buffalo. That's why I say, and then he went because they were quite a. They were sort of like the three musketeers there. Schmirker, Schmidt, and Heller. You know, they were always out to the joints, you know, going around to the bistros, as you say.
Where would they go? Where would the guys gather? Was newsstand, humidor? Would they?
Yeah, they were around the humidor in them days when Speeder Loughran had it, and then you know, there and then Speeder Loughran was running it. They're around, probably over to Schroeder's. Quite a lot of them were over to Schroeder's. You know, they hang around over to Kenny Schroeder's in Washington, up the lake, different places.
Any humorous anecdotes that you can think of? Frank Heller would used to talk about going on fires. He used to, because he lived at the humidor, he would jump on the fire trucks when they ran.
Oh yeah, they did hang around over the fire stations over there. They would go in and out of it over there because it was close and handy, you know, and in there talking with the firemen. I used to hear the firemen talking about it. Of course, I wasn't on the fire department at that time. I didn't get on until '47.
Yeah.
So I was on the fire department in '47 till '83. So I was there 35 years over there. So we've seen quite a lot of the ball players and so forth. Came and went.
Bob, you mentioned earlier that you remember some of the boxing too. Do you remember Jimmy Clark?
Oh, absolutely.
You remember his?
My uncle used to promote his fights.
No kidding.
Yeah, Henning Frankston, you know, and McGuire.
Mm-hmm.
Stu McGuire from the paper. They used to.
Tell me about Stuart McGuire. I can't. Nobody's explained to me about Stuart McGuire.
He was with the newspaper, and he was a promoter. He promoted, and he wrote, you know, and he did all the writing and promoting and stuff like that. And he was pushed these fellows like Jimmy Clark. You know, and my uncle and I would drive around the county and put up the posters for the fights and boxing matches around all these little neighborhood areas to get people in to watch when he fought. Well, when he fought Red Berry or Irving Peace from Toronto, or he fought Red Berry from down in Newcastle, or he fought Walter Woods, they call him Popeye, Walter Popeye Woods there. And he had a rip-roaring fight with him down in Washington Street down there. It was a dandy. 11 knockdowns over in the fight.
My word.
Oh, he had a roaring fight. He lost the fight, but he...
This would have been about when?
in the 30s, or in the early 30s.
Was it before he went to the Olympics or after?
Oh, this was long after that. He was professional now.
Okay.
Yeah, he was fighting around town here, and then of course he got ruined because they took him down there, and those people that ran the town casino got a hold of him, and they were fighting about once a week, you know.
Yeah, that happened.
Took care of him, and of course he was into other things too. Well, I remember him. Well, I remember 1937, he was running around here in town here in a brand new 37 Ford.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Things were good then.
Black Ford Club Coupe, 1937. I remember Jimmy Clark running back and forth through town with that. He also had a girlfriend, I don't know if I should say anything about that. Her name was Genevieve Marshall, but she was an exotic dancer down here in one of the clubs down
Was
there.
there?
Anywho, yeah. Anyway, story goes. Anyhow, they had some good fights. A lot of good fighters around. Kid Limerick, K.O. Wyman, K.O. Carroll. Even Chuck Beach down the Falconer was fighting. He fought Cyclone Villa. I remember one time. He went in the sporting goods shop in Falconer there. Chuck Beach. He went under the name of K.O. Beach.
Is that right?
Yeah. And there was a bunch of others.
Now, how would they promote them? Where would the fights be in Jamestown?
What Celeron, or down in, on Washington Street. Down there by New Eagle Motors down there, and then out on, out there, they had them in that wooden building that used to be down there by New Eagle Motors.
Okay.
They had them in there at the used car place after a while there. They had a used car garage, then there was out farther there towards, I can't remember the building out there, the name of it. But they had them there.
Would there be fights regularly, like every week or every
Yeah,
other
they
week?
had them every so often, you know, and promote up a good fight. They'd get a card together, and they'd get some of the local talent, you know. And had some pretty boxing matches. Graham, one kid by the name of Graham, he was pretty good. Rex Graham, local. And, one big guy, he was a plumber,
Augie Carlson?
Augie Carlson. Yeah, he creamed the guy once. I guess the guy died. He beat him pretty badly. Augie, big Augie. Yeah, he was on later there. He used to come around and was with later on when they had the other boxing here, just after World War II, when they were fighting with Buddy Jackson and Darrell and Stu, and all the Jackson boys were fighting. Green, the king of Green was fighting around here, and there were a number of others, and I remember Augie was in there working the corners with these kids, you know, and that's Augie. Yeah, a lot of things.
You have seen a lot. You've done a lot. You've been involved in baseball for a period of time, boxing.
I never played, played baseball. I was not I'd say I wasn't very good. Let's put it that way. I put that so.
But you were a big fan.
Oh yeah. I never missed any games. Football either. I was always around with the Liberties and the Crescents and the PHC and the Eagles. And I knew all the players.
Because your dad was involved in it.
Yeah, he was managing the Liberties.
Yeah.
And then for a while he managed the Crescents. The Sweet Hill gang up there, you know. Of course, he was always having played football with the old Bambi Breads, and of course he was telling the names of the guys like Louis Collins with the left end, and yeah, and the fireman over there, Jack Cady was playing one tackle. My dad was playing the other tackle, and Jack Cady up there from Lakewood, there, the fireman.
Yeah.
He was a firefighter later. He was playing the other tackle. And he said the big running back was from the Black Rocks was Roy Fallon, who later ran for the Crescents too. Well, he's the one that took out Smith, the Bambi Breads quarterback at Celeron. Fractured his skull when Smith wouldn't wear a helmet. He went in to make the tackle on Fallon, and Fallon went through and hit him in the side of the head, I guess, with his knee. And that was what happened there. And of course they had the old Detroit Tops and all that, with all those other teams.
You have great memories. This is terrific.
And then later on, of course, they had Blystone team, the Blystone mattress team and so forth. Stacy Ross played for them, and then Lefty Johnson was playing in them days for them. And all these other teams came in. And then, of course, they had all the football teams, you know, back then.
Did they ever come in barnstorming? I mean, were professional teams, did professional football teams ever barnstorm?
Yeah, we had them in here. They picked a team one time. That was kind of hilarious. They played the Cleveland Galloping Ghosts at Lakewood on Packard Field up there. They had skeletons painted up and down in front of their uniform. They're all black with skeletons painted on their uniform. Okay. They're called the Cleveland Galloping Ghosts, and they played all Jamestown up on Packard Field. Remember that? Quite a game up there. And then the Cleveland Yellow Jackets came in here and played up in the old Oriole field up there. They played the Liberties up there on the old Oriole field.
Where was the old Oriole?
Well, just past Willow Avenue, down there between Buffalo Street in that area in there, and had a wood fence all the way around it, a big high wood fence.
Okay.
That was the Oriole field, just off Willow Avenue, just behind Willow Avenue. You can go over past the city line, and then you've got Buffalo Street. You went in off of Buffalo Street. the entrances, and you went in, there was a big wooden enclosed field there, and that was the Oriole field.
Okay. That was used principally for what? Baseball and football?
Baseball and football,
Mhm.
yeah, they played them both there.
Was it a
And,
private field or a city field, or?
I guess it was city field, I guess,
Mhm.
as far as I know. I don't know anybody that was privately owned. Sort of like Baker Street Airfield, you know, we used to fly out of Baker Street up there, you know, the old flying field up there.
Yeah.
At least I did, I flew out of there. Used to Archie Newton and them, Sven Matson, and they would flew out of there, and all the old time pilots around here. Doc Blaisdell, old Doc Blaisdell flew out of there. Also down from behind, used to fly behind the, out the field there behind the Faulkner school down there.
Mhm.
In Faulkner, they used to fly out and back there
Okay.
till, what's his name, Einer got the field down below there, just down below there, Einer Johnson got the other field there. He bought up all those old AT-6s from the Navy there and was selling them down there in Faulkner. He had them down there sitting all over the field down there. I guess he was picking them up for about $200 a piece and selling them for $6,
Yeah.
flying them in here and fixing them up, but nobody could afford to fly them. They used so much gas and oil.
Oh, yeah.
You know, guys would put in, guys would go up and they'd only be up so many hours, and guys would have to put in 3 gallons of oil. They leaked oil all over everything, and you couldn't afford the gas. It was horrendous. They burned a tremendous amount. The only person that could afford to fly them was the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, private guy couldn't fly one.
You've got great memories, Bob.
They had the
Terrific.
big radial engine there, it sucked up gas like you wouldn't believe it. Oh yeah, I was up at the airport when they brought in the Hellcat. Guy made a carrier landing up there on that north-south runway and taxied it up there to the hangar, and they had it sitting down in front of the high school down there for quite a while. Kids were down there messing with it. It was a Navy fighter, Hellcat. And I remember he got it in there, and then Warren Skelton took it up. He asked the pilot if he cared if he, no, he said, so he got in and went with it. Skelly.
Yeah.
Warren Skelton flew that Hellcat around up there. Tried it out anyway. He was a good pilot, Skelly was.
So what are you doing now? What keeps you occupied? What's your?
Well, I just do I go around do shows.
What do you principally do? What's the type of stuff that you collect?
Gun shows.
Gun?
I'm a gun show. I do gun shows.
Yeah.
Things like antique shows.